Aloha, welcome back to Aina Bear Farm. As you can see, we've got a lot of under construction stuff happening here. This is one of our oldest pineapple patches, white pineapple, and we had a big harvest off of this section this year, at least 50 pineapples, so it's pretty good. And we could leave a lot of this in and get another harvest off of it. And I will probably leave at least some of it in, but as you can see here I've removed a big section, and that is because this was infested with what might be my most obnoxious weed here, but I've already carted it up the hill to get rid of it. So here, let me cut to that real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is all torpedo grass, which is what it's commonly called here. It filled up this whole bin, overflowing, and most of you probably have something like this where you are, where you've got these underground rhizomes that send up new shoots of grass. And I mean, this stuff is just awful. It's super hardy, can deal with drought, can deal with flooding. It can kind of like, it's pretty brittle, so it'll like easily snap off into pieces. So you hear like nightmare horror stories of people tilling up entire patches of that stuff and just causing it to multiply and spread like crazy. So I do think this is probably my worst weed, and I've got it sitting over here next to my biochar pit, because next time if it ever dries out again, we'll do a burn. I'm just probably going to start throwing a bunch of this in the fire and just burning it and assuring that it will, at least this pile, will not be a problem for me again. So now that we've gotten rid of the torpedo grass in this section, or at least I should not have said that. I don't know if I'll ever actually get rid of it. We've got rid of most of it, and now I can at least like come in and, you know, get some stuff when I spot it coming back up again. We've got a few old papaya that never really did that well in this section here. I've already taken this one out. We'll be taking the rest out. Took out a lot of clumps of guinea grass here. It just grown in. And a couple things we're doing here. One, we are actually going to straighten these beds out. When I first put them in, I put them in on contour, thinking I'd be able to get a hold of a flexible tubing for irrigation, but I've really only been able to get a hold of drip tape, regularly anyways. And drip tape is obviously straight, and so it's really hard to get it to curve at all, and so it's been kind of a pain to get it to follow that contour. So we're going to straighten these, and as you may have seen in previous videos, we put in our newest pineapple row just downhill from here, and so this row is one of the new straightened rows. And so essentially I just need to get this old row here to follow that same path and same spacing and everything. So it's going to be kind of a pain to come, because I'll have to obviously dig into this guinea grass to kind of extend it so that it follows that same path. But once we get it in, then our irrigation will be much simpler. We're going to most likely remove these old moringa trees. There's a lot of rock in this section, and I think that that was partly to blame for the fact that the moringa never really did all that great here. You can see like here when I was digging up the torpedo grass, just tons of rock. And I thought I had actually dug all the rock out of this section when I originally planted it, so gives you an idea of how much rock we're talking about. You might have seen a previous video, like I've talked about moringa and how it doesn't always do so great everywhere I plant it. I've had a few do really well, but this section hasn't been all that great, but it's okay because mostly what I planted the moringa here for was just to give a little bit of shade to the pineapple. And they're defoliated now, but in the summer months when I really needed the shade, they did provide it. You can also see right at the top there, we've got our next year's main white pineapple crop, and they're planted much closer together, which was another thing that I have practiced on this row, because I've since learned after starting with this one that they stand up a lot better once there's fruit on them if you plant them a little close together. So anyways, we are getting there. We've got also down below here, there's a bit of a natural trench or gulch here that runs right through here. And we had a really nice patch of kalo or taro at one point, and I just let it go during one of the droughts, and I want to refurbish that and replant that with kalo and taro. We've got a whole bunch of new varieties that we got from a community kalo harvest recently that we're really excited about. So I want to be able to take really good care of those and be able to share them with other people, kind of keep all these really cool varieties going that we have. Also, in terms of like rejuvenating and refurbishing and improving the soil, I'm going to leave a lot of these pineapples in, but this will end up being kind of curved, and I'll have this new section here coming out. And my idea for now is to cover crop this. So I've got mustard and buckwheat, and I'm just going to cover crop it for a while to try to improve the soil quality a little bit. Probably likely bury biochar in there originally as well when I first dig out this extension section. And then I'm going to copy that process in the row that's next to there, but that of course will be kind of straightened. So it's going to be really confusing for a little while I kind of let this pineapple go, because I do want to just let this pineapple fruit one more time next year, might as well. And then eventually we'll kind of cut like a new path in between theirs. But between that time, we'll have these kind of outer paths, but I'll have sort of like weird piecemeal sections, and I'll keep them cover cropped for a lot of that time. But I actually also have a mostly cleared section, you might be able to kind of see it right here, that I tarped for a while. And the tarping has done such a good job, because I have uncovered this quite a long time ago, and I've had no weeds come back since then. Luckily, the torpedo grass was not in this area, because when you tarp the torpedo grass, it just runs under the tarp, hence the name, the way it goes under the ground and then just pops up all over the place. I do have some sleeping grass or touch me not plant with the crazy thorns on it. It is a nitrogen fixer, so we don't mind it too bad. But this row will also need to get the biochar and probably at least one round of cover crop, just to try to improve the soil quality a little bit. And I'm actually not 100% sure what I want to grow down here. Obviously, I've got a lot of pineapples, and we'll continue to have a system where we have probably, one that's going to be heavy this season, and then one that's kind of on its way out that season, and then one that's new for 2 seasons away. So long story short, we'll have at least 3 rows of pineapples going down here. We'll have the row of kalo or taro. We will have, I don't know, I might like to try papayas again down here. and moringa. But this is a section where I keep it relatively open, and then as I kind of pan around, you can see the beginnings of the food forest is like right here. So this is all, a lot more jungly trees, things on that side. And I keep this section open because our house is up the hill and it maintains the nice view of the ocean through here from the house. But if you have any ideas of things, that we could grow down here, throw that in the comments section, especially if you're in Hawaii, if you're in the tropics, crops that grow really well, that are, relatively easy to manage. This is a full blast sun area. It's also an area that gets a decent amount of wind. The wind comes mostly from this direction. So I've started to get a little bit of windscreen going here with a few things, but it's probably going to continue to be a little exposed. So if you have any ideas of things that'll grow well, I've thought about maybe trying to expand growing asparagus, but I would definitely need a little bit of overstory shade for that. It would just get fried in the summer here. We definitely like growing a lot of different types of beans. I could build trellises for something like a climbing bean. I even thought about doing like a mega trellis for like cherry tomatoes down here, but not sure about the wind for those. So yeah, give me some ideas. And we'll keep you updated on this as we go. Just wanted to kind of show you what we've been up to, and pretty soon we're going to get the food forest nice and mowed, and we'll get like a little tour video going for you to kind of wrap up the end of the year. So stay tuned, and thanks for joining us at Ina Bear Farm. We'll see you back here next time. Aloha.